Sabji, thank you so much for coming on. First of all, a massive congratulations. You just become a father, Pitaji. How's fatherhood treating you?
Fatherhood is a blessing, honestly. And you see a lot of yourself going through the same things, and a lot of things you realize that your parents, I wouldn't say struggled, but like the way they did seva of you, you get to do a lot of that seva back.
Yeah. Guru Sahib's Kirpa, it's a new seva that's come into your laps, a blessing from Guruji, and may Guru Sahib bless you, Hana. It's an absolute, pleasure to raise a child, and challenging, and it gives you so much. But we've come today to talk about Asa Di Vaar with Guru Sahib's Kirpa. The series of Asa Di Vaar, English Katha, was filmed in 2018, and we just finished it, released it on the channel. If I'm not wrong, it's one of, or perhaps the only English complete Katha of Asa Di Vaar, so absolute amazing resource. And we filmed it together, actually, didn't we, in 2018? And so in this video, you're in the States, I'm in the UK, and if the Sangha don't know, we work closely together. You film your content there and you send it across, and we edit it with Guru Sahib's Kirpa. So a bit of behind the scenes to discuss what went into that project and learn about the insights of kind of what it took to study for that and to deliver that katha, to film it, to edit it. And we just wanted to give a bit of a behind the scenes for the Sangha, because we released a vlog recently, and I think the Sangha quite appreciated those behind the scenes, so thank you so much for coming on. So in 2018, it was towards the end of the year, you came down for a tour. What do you remember from when you came to visit and we did that series together?
Yeah, so just what I remember is I was in India prior to coming to the UK. So in India, we were going around and we were filming the Gurdwara tours, doing katha at various places as well. And during that time, I remember, let's go a little bit before that. With Jagraj Singh, it was always a conversation between him and I, and who's going to do Asa Di Vaar Katha, because at Park Avenue, Gurdwara, he was doing Ardas Katha at the time. Prior to that, he had finished the entire Nitnem, he had finished Surera Sahib, Sola Sahib, and various other Barniya. And we were in conversations to discuss, okay, what Barni is he going to do Kathav next, and what Barni am I going to do Kathav next, so we can put it on the channel. It doesn't make sense to have duplicates until we have a lot of things covered. And so I was like, I love Asa Di Vaar. And he was like, but bro, that's my true love. And I was like, but it's my true love. So we both loved Asa Di Vaar so much. I remember we would just, as a joke, and because we were busy with so many other projects, we would just kind of go back and forth and like, okay, so I get to do Asa Di Vaar now, right? And he's like, no, I get to do Asa Di Vaar now. And of course, obviously, Satkar Yog by Jagraj Singh, obviously, it was always his say, Satkar Rakhde Sige. But then near the end, when Jagraj Singh was diagnosed with cancer, that's when he was like, so you finally get to do Asa Di Vaar, don't you? And I was like, yes, I finally get to do it now. So that was a joke, but I guess a Chardi Kala joke between ourselves. And so I was in India, and I knew we had already planned that when we came to the UK that we were going to be recording Asa Di Vaar, because there was an amazing video recorder and editor like yourself present there to help me record it. So again, doing all that kind of stuff, it was impossible alone to have the entire setup and all the resources. And I think the Sangha don't realize how much effort actually goes behind the camera, not just in front of the camera and the person speaking, but actually behind the camera. And so I knew you were there, but at the same time, because I myself was coming to the UK for about I think 5 weeks or so. And in those 5 weeks, there was also our Basics of Sikhi camp that year. So that gives us 4 weeks left. And in those 4 weeks, every weekend there was a katha tour planned. So we were going from West London to East London to Manchester to Birmingham to Leeds to Newcastle. I think did we go to Scotland as well? I think we went to Scotland as well.
Edinburgh, yeah.
Yeah, Edinburgh. We went all of it. So all of that tour is happening on the weekends. During the weekdays, I think I was teaching classes as well in various spots. And in between all of this crazy schedule, if you just look at the schedule, you just say, okay, that's packed. There's nothing else you can do. But in the middle of that, we were recording Asa Di Vaar during the mornings. So I remember, I think there was many, during those times, Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaji Shahidi Samagams, the Choti Sahibzade Shahidi Samagams coming up. A lot of that was going on during that time as well. So when I was in India, I was studying and preparing for it, and thoda man, what I like to do is I just like to read the Bani multiple times. That's just a Sakhia I've been given when I was young. Just there's some things that you can gain from resources. I think we'll talk about that in a second, but then your own feel for the Bani, your own Anubhav and the revelation that Guru Sahib Ji gives you through reading the Bani, and that is how you connect with the Bani. If you say, I want to connect with Gurbani, you don't read it, then you're not really connecting, are you? So the way to connect with it is recitation, again and again and again. So we've been doing Asa Di Vaar Kirtan since we were young. And even I think my brother and I, sometimes we were just at home when we were younger, we just sing Asa Di Vaar Shakke, just for fun. And in that way, it became like a regular routine. So going into this UK tour, we had planned out 25 days for Katha. And I think we had like one day more or less, it was that tight. So if even one of the days, like you got sick, I got sick, something happened, then our entire schedule would have been thrown off, because then I had to fly back to North America for other planned Katha. And I remember in the middle of that, we had like 5 days each week exact, and we had to complete 25. And during this time, it was hectic. That's all I can say is it was sleep deprived. But with that, it was a blessing. It was a blessing.
Coming to you from the future, I'm just editing this video right now, and what I'd like you to do is go in the comments and write what you think made this Katha happen. You could just hear the intense, crazy schedule that Bhai Sahib was on, and a lot was up against us, and Guruji's Kirpa happened, and we both feel very strongly, and you're about to hear about it, what was the main contributor to making this Katha being filmed with Guruji's Kirpa. So no cheating, no skipping forward, no looking at the other comments. Comment below what you think it is, and it'd be interesting to see what people share, and really hope you're enjoying Bhai Sahib speaking about this experience and this work that he did. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Let's get back to the program.
We both felt that. We both felt where it started from. Is where it started from, that Kada Prashad Di Tegh. And that's what I really want to highlight. Maybe you can touch on that as well. Is that Kada Prashad is most powerful. I know I've read in multiple sources, such as by Mani Singh Ji's Sikhan Di Bhagat Mala, even Nanak Prakash, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave a hukum to Guru Sikhs that you wake up at Amrit Vela, you do your Nitnem, and you do Kada Prashad Di Tegh. Right? That's a regular rehat that Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave to Bhai Mansukh Ji and many others. Bhai Mani Singh Ji mentions it that ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ, you want to fulfill any sort of task, and you want Guru Sahib's sahayata on that, then you need to do ardas and kada prashad di tegh. So that's what we ended up doing, and it was a funny story because we didn't actually have a full kadai. We had a small bata, and I don't know if you want to touch on that, the small bata that we had, and we were trying to measure so that the tegh doesn't go over the top of the bata, but it was a small bata, so we couldn't touch the bata because the bata got really hot as we were making the tegh. But regardless of that, we managed to make the tegh with the help of Benji, and then we did the ardas. But I felt the sharda that all three of us put into that tegh, it was very fruitful, and that's just a pain they want to do to the sangat is just implement Kada Prashadi tegh. It was amazing. It was
a furna that came into our mind, wasn't it? That it wasn't like, let's do it as a tick box. like Jal, that's something you do, but it just somehow it just happened quite naturally. And yeah, we didn't have the right bondit, and it was like it was either deciding to make the Barney in the batta but then not being able to pour it because it would be so hot, or make the Kada Prashad in the batta and then use the kadahi with the handles. But then we you and me, like we put in so much, we started off with so much gyo and atta that we were like, okay, this is going to be quite a big gufa now. So Harpreet, my singer shit, Harpreet, of course, she had to come in and support us a little bit. But Guru Sahib's Kirpa, the blessings of that Gurda Prashad made that project happen, because like you said, it was day after day filming 1 hour gathas, and we had and literally then it was straight after that we were all going to the camp, and then you were going home, weren't you? So that was just an absolute blessing. Filming in the studio, something quite new for yourself then, not so much now, obviously with the pandemic, it's something we do quite normally, but you had lights in your face and you had no sangat in front of you, and you just had a camera, you just have to look into the lens and talk, and a backdrop. And how was that experience for you? That was quite a new thing.
Yeah, that's when I think back to that, it's been over 3 years now, but especially during that time, because the mahal or the environment that's created while doing katha on stage, or in a lecture theater where there's sangat in front of you, even a small crowd like a workshop room, you feedback off of the sangat. And not only myself, I think Baljeet Singh and I and a lot of us, we struggled with that at the beginning, where it was awkward to just look into the camera and just get that environment or get that feeling that, oh, this is the Sangat that's looking at us or listening to us. In the Darbar, you have Guru Sahib Swaroop, Kirtan just happened before you're doing Katha, Sangat is there, they're in tune, they're not being distracted by YouTube and things on the side. The Darbar is a special place, and you can see the Sangat, you can see the reaction, the smiles, the tears, the confusions, you can see all of these things on the Sangat's face, and you can see the love, you can really feel it truly. The Sangat's pyar while doing Katha, but then you lost all of that when you're just sitting in a studio looking at the camera, and it was like, so what am I supposed to do? Like, then Guru Nanak did, you did this. I'm like, that's just like, it's different when you're in the mahal, the environment. It was weird doing that. But then one of the things that we actually had to do is we had to imitate psychologically things that would feel like I was in a darbar. So we actually, in a darbar, you have like the feedback speaker, which when you speak into the mic, there's a speaker in front of the stage that feeds back so you can hear your own voice.
Monitor.
So what we did is, we actually put a speaker in front of me, even though it's not needed, just so I can hear myself and hear my own tone. And we put an echo on it, so it just sounded more like a darbar. And then I had to sit down and actually visualize like the Sangat and who possibly would be listening, and I would have to imagine them in the room with me or sitting behind the camera lens. And over, I think, the last 3 years, that's become so normal, especially with Zoom calls, camera recordings now, and you can get a sense of the Sangat on the other side of the camera. But it did take practice during that time.
It wasn't all doom and gloom, because there are many advantages to doing it in the studio, that like sometimes you might go to a gatha, a darbar, and you have a plan in your head, you want to deliver a certain message and cover a certain amount of a bani or what, and sometimes because of the mahal you actually have to cater, maybe something's happened topically, maybe the demographic, you have to speak in multiple languages, you have to basically adapt yourself. But in the studio it was very, very concentrated and focused. Like, we knew exactly what we were doing. You sit down, you do your Mangalajar and you crack on. And we had hand signals as well for the song that didn't know. Like, so I would go like this, and like I don't know what, although I can't remember now, but we had these different.
We had to make sure that we didn't go over the hour mark, or we limited to like 55 minutes, and I think a few of the kathas we did go over, just because there's so much to say about the Bani, and some of the Shakke Pauriyan were a little bit longer. But yeah, I remember it was like, okay, this year halfway through now, you can't go over time, and all that kind of. We had our signals with each other. But the point that you brought up before is absolutely 100%. In the studio setting, or just speaking with the camera, or kind of where it's controlled environment, you get to focus on the content and actually put it out in a much easier way. I'll tell you why. In a darbar, it's a little bit different. In a darbar, you have to cater to the sangat that is there. They came to the Guru Sharan to listen to Katha. In Gurbani, Rog Daru Dome Budjay Tam Ved Sujan. They speak about that you have to recognize the disease and you have to recognize the medicine in order to aid in that sort of way. That then you're considered a doctor. And so, like, Katha is very similar, right? And even in Guru Balas Batsai Shemi and Sikhandi Bhagatamala, there is mentions of the 14 gun of the Bhakta and the 14 gun of the Srota. And we have made videos about this on our YouTube channel as well, the 14 qualities of a listener and 14 qualities of a speaker. So with those qualities, like, you have to cater to the Sangat and recognize, are they Punjabi speaking? Are they English speaking? Where is their understanding of Gurbani at, right? So in a normal Sunday morning Katha Diwan setting, it'll be different because you'll have a lot of your Punjabi family, parents, old bujurgs, and then you also have Sangat that comes, like they've only seen a poster of basics of Sikhi and they said, we're going to attend because Bhai Harman Singh is here or Bhai Baljeet Singh is here, and we're gonna go and listen to this Katha because we've seen them on YouTube. You know what? Sunday is actually the most difficult because you have the most vast amounts of people there and you really have to juggle back and forth between them. For example, like a Thursday night, you get a different Sangat. Friday night, you get a different Sangat. But Sunday morning, you have the Bujurg that's standing up and saying, La, Punjabi bolya kar, aaj kal de niyaane bade kharab ho gaya. So you have to cater to that. And Punjabi bolani pendi hai, Punjabi vich katha karni pendi hai. When you have those very newcomer people that have never come to the Gurdwara in the last 14 years, they might be Punjabi, but they've just gone so off track. They want to connect, but they're only coming and listening to you because you provide something in a language that they understand easier. So I see that person and I see the Bujurg both sitting beside each other in the darbar, and I'm like, okay, which one do I cater to? So I say one line in Punjabi, then I repeat it in English. So somebody that understands both languages, they'll be like, why are you repeating yourself? So actually it takes double the amount of time to deliver the same message because you have to repeat it in two languages. And sometimes it makes you lose your train of thought, but with experience you gain that as well. And there's so many other factors like that. It could be like you're doing vichar and a few times the secretary has come up with like, we're cutting your time short because we have to give a soropa to some random minister or mantri, like politician that came in, and so we're cutting your katha short because, and then like kind of throws everything off. So that's unfortunate. But like with the darbar, again, there's, like we spoke about the positives before, with the controlled environment, to build a resource for YouTube for generations to come and people to actually watch on YouTube and play on their computers and TVs on a regular basis and really learn from. That was key. That was key, right? There's 24 boarding, there's 24 boarding in Asa Di Vaar, and we were able to do one Pauri or entire chakka per one video, plus the very beginning intro one where we talked about the background of Asa Di Vaar, who is Tunde Asraja, right? Because it's Tunde Asraja ki tuni. The story behind that, how is Asa Di Vaar written, when did Guru, why is Mahalla Pehla, Salok Mahalla Pehla and Mahalla Duja, and there's Asa Mahalla Chotha, and the Pauri and Guru by Guru Nanak Dev Ji, how is that all compiled together? We had to discuss all of that. So all of that background is there in the first video, plus the 24 videos of the Katha. So a total of 25 videos, like a perfect set that we were able to create with Guru Sahib's Kirpa.
Bhai Sahib, absolutely amazing vichar. Thank you so much for sharing that, and talking about the studio and the efforts that went in terms of how you came to the UK and did that. All of that happened because you work for the charity, Guru Sahib's Kirpa, work for the charity. So that's kind of an opportunity to plug, to say, ask the Sangha to support these projects, because Asa Di Vaar is not the only Bani in our Khajana of Gurbani that needs to be translated into English, and we've got a lot of things to a lot of projects that we need to do. We're behind, Hana. We need to provide these resources, so please support the charity, and watch the Katha as well. It's available on YouTube and SoundCloud. So, just finishing off that point, we're in the studio. For any techies out there, obviously, from my side behind the camera, it might be a good chance just to talk to you about what the setup was. So we filmed on the Panasonic GH5. It's a 4K camera. We had a Rode NTG2, which is a boom mic that was boomed up above the camera, pointing towards Biceb's throat neck area, and that was then plugged into a Zoom recorder for a nice crisp audio. So the mic that you actually sometimes see in but the shot, or even the wireless mic that you can see there, that was actually connected to the speaker which is the monitor speaker for Biosub. So that's a little bit of a behind the scenes for you. And then we had 2 umbrella lights, similar to the one that you can see on the right there, that was lighting Biosub. And then behind was actually a chadar, a white sheet that was carefully ironed and set down with some weights to try and create a nice background. Good thing with using kapara, like a fabric, is that it absorbs light rather than using like a wallpaper or something, which then would bounce that light off. So that was quite a good thing. And that's basically it. It's quite a simple setup, but it's actually in Baljeet Singh's loft, so 15 minutes from where I lived, and that's where we spent 5 weeks, 5 days. Well, you actually stayed there with Bicep, didn't you? And
I remember it was I was staying in the room right next to the room where we were recording, so I would literally wake up, do Ishnan, and then by the time I was ready, you would arrive, you would set up, and I would come into the room and we would record every morning, and then I would go back into the room, rechange, and I had a specific set of jewelry that I just used for that katha. I just kind of like fold them there and leave them there, and then I would prepare for the evening programs, and then I would come home at night, and then just same routine, Asa Di Vaar, continue on. Once the weekend hit, then we just go on a mad driving tour. Like, I don't know how long of a drive was it to Scotland. I can't even remember.
It was long. It was like 5-6 hours. Yeah.
And back and forth, right? So again, all of that, the studio setup was amazing, especially with all the behind the scenes. We had the Amrit Kirtan Pothi in front of us, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਅਰਥ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ. We're doing the Arth through that. So if sometimes a lot of people were questioning what Pothi do you have in front,
because if you did it, you wouldn't have been able to do it from a Sanchi side, because the Chantt are separate from the Saloka.
Yeah, and that's another point that we actually decided that we wanted to do the shakke, which is like the har juk juk bhagti upaya paj rakhda ya ram raje, that part, plus like the Saloka mahalla, all of that, ape pande sajin ape purande, like that, the Saloks, and then the Pauri, right? But taking like that. So the Saloks and the Pauri are written separately, and then the Shakke are actually written separately because they're part of the Chantt and by Guru Ram Das Ji. So in if you know Guru Granth Sahib Ji's order, Guru Sahib's Bani is classified based on the number of the Guru, and plus it's also starts with like the Vaar is always at the very end, so the Asa Di Vaar is at the end of Ragasa, obviously, and the Chantt would come prior to that. So knowing that whole thing, if we had the Senti Sahib, I would have to go back and forth. And the reason why we wanted to do the Shakke, so a lot of like sometimes when you listen to Asa Di Vaar Katha, they don't do the Shakke. The reason why we wanted to do the Shakke is because when regularly the Sangat or the youth, they listen to Asa Di Vaar the Kirtan, they hear that. So we didn't want them to miss the arths or the meanings of what they regularly listen to, because Asa Di Vaar the Kirtan is sung in swagams, Kirtan programs on TV, like on, you'll hear from Darbar Sahib every morning. Sometimes you might hear your grandma put it on. And so it's such a prachalat bani, and you hear it all the time. We just wanted to make sure the Sangha didn't miss out on any of the pangati or any of the lines. That's why the Amrit Kirtan, it's written in a way for the Kirtani to sing it. So that's why we read it off of that. So that's why you see that Pothi there.
And it's absolutely beautiful, because like I always struggled to understand how the chants connected to the Boriya. I didn't actually know that the Bori is the actual essence of the Shakka, and that is the Asa Di Vaar, if you will. The Saloks are the explanation, and it was afterwards that Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, if I'm not wrong, then compiled that. But it was always strange, like, how does Har Amrit bin Lorna, like, which is that love-filled essence, that kind of berag for Waheguru Ji. How does that connect to like Abhinayab Sajio, like the creation? It was very, when you listen to Kirtan, it's quite hard, but every single episode in the last 30 to 60 seconds you'd be like, "Dan karke," that's how it connects, and you're like like it's just amazing.
And that's a beinti to the Sangat, that you have to, when you're listening to Asa Di Vaar Katha, you have to stick till the end, because it's like you're building to the climax, and the very last line, or the very half pankti of the Pauri, because if you look at the structure of a Pauri, there's usually about 4 or 5 lines, and then the last line is half a pankti, right? And that last pankti is where, that's like the beat drop, the mic drop. That's where it all comes together. So it's very neat, and definitely I think a lot of people don't understand the structure of Baniya as well, right? So Sukhmani Sahib is written in Ashtapadi, it's completely different. Asa Di Vaar is a Vaar, right? Which is the mool of a Vaar is in the form of Pauri, and we discuss all of this in the videos, especially the very first video of the intro.
With all of that in mind, how did you actually study for this, and where did you get that kind of gyan from? Obviously bhakti is more important than studying, and if you don't mind me saying, I remember hearing you before you would start the katha saying "Jom bolave tyo Nanak das bole," that whatever we say, whatever we try to teach or impart, share the message of Guru, it's Guruji speaking through your body, it's not yourself. And if you start a katha or a conversation or vichar like that, then Guru Sahib kirpa karan that comes through them. But ultimately you did study, so what kind of things did you read? And second question, what was not in the series, and what would you suggest to anybody who's looking to do a bit more Khoj?
So a few of the sources that I looked at and read through before Asa Di Vaar Di Katha. One is Gurbani Arth Bhanddaar, which is a steek of all of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which is actually the katha of Sant Giani Guru Bachan Singh Ji Khalsa Pinderpal. And all of their katha of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji has been noted down, transcribed and put in a very organized format by Hari Singh Randhawe Wale in Gurbani Arth Bhanddaar. So that's a great resource for anybody that's wanting to learn about Vishrams, pronunciation, Gurbani meanings, Uthanka's backgrounds. That's a great resource. Another resource that I use is Amir Bhanddar Steek, which has a lot of resources. That's from Bhai Mani Singh Ji's Tiksal. Another couple of sources that I looked into was Faridkot Tika. So number one, you have to go through all the steeks to look at it, and then it's also you want to listen to and learn from the Divans and scholars that possibly would have been able to reach out and study sources that I probably today can't even get my hands on, right? So there's a book by Sant Giani Sant Singh Ji Maskeen of Asa Di Vaar. So I read through that entire book a month before, just to get it all in my mind. And then there's also a book of Asa Di Vaar by Giani Pinderpal Ji, right? So O Sari Padi, I read through all of that as well. Then there was another book, I forgot who the author is, but it's a book in English of Asa Di Vaar, about the meanings of Asa Di Vaar, and I decided to just go through that as well. And they had a lot of different perspectives on it, rather than the Sampradaik. Different conversations about it. They would quote a lot of things, like Macauliffe and these things as well. So more of a scholarly side of things. So I would look into all of those things, and then ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ then ਆਪ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਅਰਥ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਮਝ ਲੱਗੇ, then you take the examples, knowing the sangat that is going to be listening to the katha that we're going to be recording, and how to explain this meaning of Gurbani to them and get it across to them. So the examples I may have used were probably different, But the meaning of the Bhangti got across and had to get across in the same way. So those were a few of the main sources from what I remember off the top of my head, and so that we used from a reading perspective. And then the other thing, like you mentioned before, there was a lot of, this is how Katha works. Like, we can't just say it's from these sources, because there's that element of it as well. But then ਜਦੋਂ ਕਥਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰੀ ਦੀ and we say ਜਿਉਂ ਬੁਲਾਵੇ ਤਿਉਂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਾਸ ਬੋਲੇ, that we speak as Guru Sahib, you make us speak, or we also say kahan buddh prabh toch hamari bar na sake mehma jo tahari hum na sakat kar sift tumhari aap liho tum katha sudari. That's Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani. That, you know, we don't have the intellect to do katha, and a lot of times you plan for a lot of katha and you think, I want to say these sort of possible things, or you could touch on these topics, but then when you go into the actually starting, you just have to leave it to the Guru. You have to take all the knowledge that you have, come into Guru's Darbar, and as soon as you matha take in the Darbar, and this is a teaching that I've been taught since I was younger, is all the knowledge you've brought in, you matha take, you left it at the Guru's feet now. It's not in you. You've done your preparation. You've done all the study that you needed to do. You've done the planning that you needed to do. But your planning in front of the Guru means nothing. It's nothing. Your knowledge, your scholarly, your degrees, nothing in front of the Guru. You come to the Guru, you leave it at the Guru, then you let the Guru decide what the Guru wants to say through you. Because, you know, Marti ka putra kaise najata hai na? Like, how we're just a puppet and we're dancing, right? And you have to really leave it to the Guru. And that's my experience. So if I want to say something through my knowledge, I've seen the Sangha doesn't take anything away from that. As soon as, you know, you leave it to the Guru, and you're like, I just sometimes walk off the stage and out of the recording as well, I'm like, I don't even know what I said, and the Sangha will just say, you spoke directly to me. I was like, that wasn't me speaking, actually. That was Guru Sahib speaking, because, you know, I didn't plan for any of that. So sachi gal hai, kai vari sometimes the things that you have planned on stage te boliyan jandiyan hain, they are mentioned on stage or in the recordings, but sometimes it's not any of that, and it's a different topic entirely. It's still Gurmat, right? It's not just like running off course or anything, but it's really, you have to live in that raza and parna actually while doing the katha, and truly, like, it's a different experience. And I just continue to ask the Sangat for the blessings and Guru Sahib's blessings to be able to continue that sort of seva, and, you know, and the support of, you know, a great tech team like yourself, man. It would be impossible without it.
Well, thank you so much, Bhai Sahib, and yeah, that is a real insight into the difference between bhakti and seva and knowledge. There's a big difference. However, those people that do want to do college, you've just got some absolute gems there, some DK and some books and some things that you can look into if you do want to learn more. So just talking about the Bani more before we wrap up, like the Deg was probably the highlight, to be honest. Like, not only eating it, but obviously the Gurdwara that came out of that. But in terms of the actual Katha itself, were there any kind of key moments in that Katha that you were like, whoa, like, where did that come from? Because there was a couple for me, but I'd like to hear yours first.
I mean, the recording was done like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So over 3 years ago. But, you know, a couple of things that, you know, ਜਦੋਂ ਨਾ Guru Ramdas ji ਦੇ ਸ਼ੱਕਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀ ਨਾ, like, you felt a different virag there. I know we've read it, and even in Kirtan, I'm just speaking for myself personally, right? I'm not speaking from the Sangat's perspective, or actually, like, that was said was really cool. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about my own feeling. And just discussing and going through it, you know, even my own surti, going through each bhakti as we're speaking about it. Like, for me, that's my own bhakti as well. That's part of the reason why I enjoy Katha. It's not really about I'm teaching it. That's like part of the reason. There's a fruit of it, of just like my own mind being able to weave through the bhaktiyan as I speak through it. And at the very beginning, for me, like when Guru Ramdas ji start with their Prem Pare Bachan, like Haramrit Pinne Loina Mana Prem Ratana around it, like that's just, it really sets your tone. And one of the things that I felt like that first Guru Ramdas ji Maharaj is setting the environment of your mind. Ki manda hal keho jaya. Without Sharda, nothing else is possible. Then Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Guru Angad Dev Ji, they go through the Saloks, and I really felt that as we were doing the Katha, is they're doing the khandan there, right? Because there's in Asa Di Vaar it's Brahmand da Mandan and Pakhand da Khandan, right? So they're challenging things, they're attacking things, they're attacking cultural norms and systems. They're telling the world off. The world thinks this way and this is the way it works, right? This is the reality. So, but that's the tark is not possible without the sharda of Guru Ramdas Ji. Pura jana barag de vich fully, like you drenched with Guru Ramdas Ji. Then you go out and you go in through the you can say the knowledge and the logical aspects and the critiquing of it, and then in the Pauri you step back and you just really take a look at it and be like, well, this is the entire picture. Now do you get it, right? And so with the sharda and the tark, both a part of it. And I know there's a lot of questions like should we be looking at Gurbani from a very logical perspective, or is it just leave it all up and just don't even think and just do everything blindly? But really, everything goes in a balance. And there's actually Sakhia Guru Hargobind Maharaj where someone asks, should we eat the shakkar or the kyo? And Maharaj says, mix it together and then you eat it in that way, and it actually becomes a medicine. And that's talking about the tark and the sharda. I think we mentioned that was covered somewhere in Asa Di Vaar Katha. If not, you've heard it now. And that for me, that like I grew, and my understanding of Asa Di Vaar, of the Bani in itself, and my connection with Guru Ramdas Ji grew through the Katha. For me, that was big. The other thing was I really like the whole aspect of the Var. Pab kya sher sardu laraya ran maru bajje. To get the whole Tunde Asraj and the whole story behind that, and Sarang Bap and all that. So that puts a lot of perspective on how Tardis would sing that based on that sort of story, and then connecting that together. Like, okay, Asa Di Vaar, a Var became Kirtan afterwards. Before it was a Var, and it was sung as like Vara, like literally Tardi Vara. So think of it in that sort of perspective.
Well, I was going to mention that was my favourite. One of my favourite was you spent an hour telling a Sakhi about Tunde Asraj. I don't think we should spoil it for the Sangat. Go and watch it. But just to understand, then our Katha to explain this story that happened, that the essence of that story was made into a Var, and Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji was very pleased and happy by the essence and the moral of that story. Took that, and that became a one Bhakti to introduce a Bani. Like, that's the depth that we have, and that's just one Bhakti. So that was an amazing, mind-blowing Sakhi and moment that we brushed past that so quickly, and you hear it in Kirtan and you're like, wait, hold on, I just want to relive that Sakhi for a second before you know it's already started.
Indeed.
But the other one was like, see, because obviously you filmed it 3 years ago, but Das edited it quite recently, so some of it's still in my mind. But towards the end, ek nahi daat aapis de jo paye Nanak sagar mat sahib Tundte jo mila. That the Sangat maybe you don't know, but if you're still here watching, a lot of the Saloks relate to specific events in time where Guru Sahib went to explain, or they saw something and then called it out, Khanda Khandan, or they spoke about its wondrousness. There's both sides. And in this one, very quickly, Guru Angad Dev Ji was called to a scene, a situation where someone with their own intellect and their own efforts managed to get some spiritual powers where they could control ghosts and use those ghosts to scare and steal. And people were impressed by that, they were scared by that, and Guru Sahib's calling it and saying that, well, what kind of, because he was saying like, I'm gifted, I'm amazing because I can do this, I have a spiritual power, but ultimately he did that and he got that through his own effort. And Guru Angad Dev Ji said, what kind of gift is that where you can do it opposite, you can do it yourself? Nanak sagar mata, actual miracle is Sahib Tundte jo mila, that you get that gift from Vaheguru Ji being happy with you. And that was just absolutely beautiful. And that Sakhi itself is beautiful, but also maybe just quickly exemplifies that almost all the Saloks in Siddhi Asa Di Vaar have a otanaka, a context, a background, a Sakhia behind them that you can learn. And when you then hear it or sing it, you're like, wait, I want to remember that Sakhia, because that's the depth of the teachings of Asa Di Vaar. And may it not just remain a teaching, may we actually take that on and then implement it into our lives and live it, because I'm certainly not there. I'm speaking with passion and remember these things, but got a long way to go myself. But as we reach the end of this informal conversation about the making of Asa Di Vaar, I hope the Sanghat's benefited from it and enjoyed this informal content. I really enjoyed filming it with you and editing the series. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of it. And just closing off now, you know, as I mentioned before, Guru Sahib's Gurdwara, this happened because the Sanghat supports the charity, and I'm both employed, paid by the Sanghat to do this seva. And just a few comments from yourself, what's upcoming and how the Sanghat can support us.
Yeah, definitely. If the Sanghat hasn't already seen, we've released the annual review of the last 2 years, so definitely check that out if you have questions about, you know, what each pracharak has been doing, what are the past projects that we worked on the last 2 years, where your donations have gone, and certain projects, even like the Amritsar project, and Gurprasad Vidyalaya, Sikh PA, all of these other projects that we have ongoing, to get an update on all of them. So definitely check out that video. You don't want to miss that. Other work that you don't want to miss is our Diwali animation video. You definitely don't want to miss that. Harjinder Singh, who's one of our animators on our team, he spent a lot of effort on that. So definitely he and all of us would appreciate taking use of that, of resources like that. But just for myself, coming up soon, I think you Parichan Singh and myself are looking forward to, and we actually started already, is the recordings of Bhai Gurdas Ji's Vaaran. And you know, Bhai Gurdas Ji's Vaaran are already, they're very categorized in topics, right? Bhai Gurdas Ji's Vaaran are already Katha in itself, right? That's why they were written. And I guess we'll discuss that once that series comes out. But again, that series is going to be a multiple of series. So if you think of Asa Di Vaar as being like one show of 25 seasons, if you think of it like that, so it's one show of 25 seasons is Asa Di Vaar, then think of Bhai Gurdas Ji as 40 seasons, because there's 40 Vaaran and each have their own Pauriyan. Some have like 36 Pauriyan, some have like 21 Pauriyan. So they're long seasons and there's 40 seasons of it. So you definitely don't, if you want to think of it like a Netflix series or something like that, to actually go through it. Like we spend so many hours watching Netflix and, you know, season 1, season 2 of, I don't even know what these shows people watch anymore, right? But if we just spent that time a little bit and watched like Katha, our Jivan would be somewhere else. And what we really put into our mind and feed ourselves, just like the food that we feed ourselves, it creates our health in the moment, gives us energy, and later on in life it helps as well. Same thing with, you know, the Gurbani and the food and the knowledge we consume, the entertainment we consume. That is, it helps us in the moment and then later on in our life, mentally and spiritually as well. So definitely Bhai Gurdas Ji is a huge project that we are looking on. Another thing that we have ongoing is it's only an audio format, which is Sri Nanak Prakash Katha. It's been going on for a year, and definitely that you don't want to be missing that. In detail, life accounts of Guru Nanak Dev Ji is just every week, twice a week we sit down and we just get the darshan of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. What more can you ask for, right? Guru diyan gallan karde hain, you hear the Sakhia, you visualize Guru Sahib Ji, you get the Sakhia, you relate it back to Gurbani, and it's just an amazing experience. So just like that, we have a few courses planned as well. That the interns, we run an internship program in Canada. We had a lot of interns working on a lot of programs and courses, and we're planning on recording and making, like, we already have questions already created, like multiple choice questions for these courses, and planning on to putting them up through our second or third phase of our website, which is probably going to be coming sometime next year as well. So definitely you don't want to miss out on any of these things. And again, none of this is possible without the Sanghat support. Like I mentioned, like Asa Di Vaar is practical Bani. It's about practicality, which is an amazing thing to read daily, right? Bhai Gurdas ji's Vaaran are it's just a plethora of different topics, different things. Each Vaar focuses on a different thing, and there is analogies, right? People love analogies, so we can go through them, break them down, and really discuss them in a relaxed, informal, direct way. And hopefully we aim to make those videos a little bit shorter than obviously not an hour long on each video, just so for the convenience of the Sangat to go through them faster. But definitely it's a pleasure and a blessing with the Sangat support to be able to do this work.
You talk about entertainment, like say Nanak Prakash you actually crack quite a lot of jokes in there. It's really some of the things
we try to make it very relaxed, right? Because this is the way that I think, right? There's a certain place for formality, there's a certain place for like creating a mahal, but like that mahal and that connection to Guru can be discussed in any sort of way, right? And we don't hide anything when we just talk, even formally or anything. But I think people love listening to podcasts nowadays, just informal conversations. It's like we're having right now, right? People love discussions, and when you discuss Guru Sahib's history in that sort of way, I think a lot of the Sangat around the world, like hundreds of Sangat, have connected to that over the last year, and we plan to continue that. So, especially like where you, in those very sly, we just rip on certain like the woke culture and the cancel cultures, and we just really, really rip on them. Like people enjoy that as well. It's like the thing that people want to hear.
Anji, well, thank you so much for sharing those projects, and you're just one of four, and also what you just mentioned there is just what you're up to in the States and worldwide. But we do have 3 other products as well. So if the Sangat don't know, we have actually switched our donation service and also Virgin Money Giving. They shut down, so we are actually on Just Giving now. So if you're subscribed to Netflix or Disney Plus or Amazon Prime, and I'll honestly say I'm subscribed to all 3 of them, or I think I share one of those accounts with a friend. Basics release weekly content that's nourishing, that's entertaining. So let's set up a subscription to Basics as well to enjoy and learn that content, which is actually spiritually nourishing. So you can do that on our website, basicsofsikhi.com/donate, and Just Giving's our new platform. So you set up a monthly subscription. You can do that with Apple Pay and your credit card, and it's really PayPal. You can do it really, really quickly, like 2 minutes. If you're in the UK, you can do gift aid as well. So yeah, and I think in the States there are some similar things. Thank you so much, Bhai Sahib, for coming on and discussing the behind the scenes of Asa Di Vaar. And Sangaji, I hope you're inspired now, if you haven't already, to check out the series and watch it and enjoy that content and learn from it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and you can follow Basics on Instagram. I'm quite active on there. You can follow Bhai Sahib at Harman Singh. You follow myself as well, Nerd Singh. And comment below, if you are watching Asa Di Vaar, what's your favourite part, because I'm sure there'll be so many gems that different people take. So we'd love to engage with you in the comments, and we'll definitely check that out, and what you would like to see on the channel going forward in the future. Bhai Sahib, any final thoughts? Thank you so much, Bhai Sahib, and we'll talk to you soon. And Sangaji, let us know if you like this kind of informal vlog thing, and we'll definitely take that into consideration for the future. Thank you again, Ji. Forgive us for any mistakes. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.